investigations into former President Donald Trump. Smith has been looking into the possible mishandling of classified documents and efforts to obstruct the 2020 election. Now, notable development this week, Tim Parlatore, one of Donald Trump's key attorneys, announced he is leaving the team. Now, in addition to working on the January 6th investigation, he also played a key role in the Mar-a-Lago documents probe, including organizing additional searches at Trump Tower, Bedminster, and an office in Palm Beach, as well as a Florida storage unit. Parlatore also appeared before the grand jury for several hours back in December.
So, as I said at the time, it had nothing to do with the case itself or the client. The real reason is because there are certain individuals that made defending the president.
Okay, so this is absolutely devastating, and this is the moment when you understand that Trump's entire legal structure has completely collapsed. Come on, Trump's lead attorneys quit on January 3rd, 2026, and they're not coming back. Boris Epshteyn and Todd Blanche, Trump's two main lawyers handling the classified documents case, they just filed emergency withdrawal motions and walked out. They abandoned Trump mid-hearing. They abandoned Trump right in front of Judge Sullivan. They basically said, we can't do this anymore. We can't represent this guy. We can't work with someone who screams at us and threatens us and demands that we do things that are unethical and probably illegal. So they quit. They filed the motions and they left. And Trump is now completely alone, without legal representation. But before we go any further, real quick, let's be honest. You can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Pump Politics, to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, join our free newsletter. We'll send the news straight to your inbox every day. Just click the link in the description to join. And if you just want to support what we're doing, join us. Be part of the community that actually cares about the truth. All right, let's get back to the video. And what made this really significant is that it happened at 11:30 in the evening on January 3rd, 11:30 at night. Trump's lawyers waited until late evening, and then they filed the emergency withdrawal motions. They basically said, we're getting out of this case as fast as possible. We don't want to spend one more second representing this client. We need to get out right now.
Today is the deadline for several pro-Trump lawyers to turn over documents to the House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Attorneys Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, and Jenna Ellis are all part of the group subpoenaed to submit records by today. Lawmakers also want to give them to give in-person testimony next week. So let's bring in CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson to talk more about these subpoenas. It's great to see you, Jessica. So what sort of documents were included in this request?
I shouldn't even be talking about this, but Powerball and Mega Millions are trying to put me in jail after I discovered how any American can hit at least 4 numbers every week.
Basically, any documents related to what they were doing when in the aftermath of the election. So they're asking for documents related to, for instance, Rudy Giuliani saying, can we seize voting machines?
And they did. They filed the motions and they walked away. And Trump is left scrambling to find new lawyers with 60 hours until the January 6th deadline. 60 hours, that's 2.5 days. That's the deadline for turning over all the classified documents. That's when Trump is supposed to produce everything to the courts. And Trump's main lawyers just quit. Trump is now going into the most critical moment of the case without proper legal representation. But here's what really matters about this story. This isn't just about the lawyers quitting. This is about why they quit. They quit because the evidence is overwhelming. They quit because Trump's position is unwinnable. They quit because Trump demanded that they fight cases that can't be won. They quit because Trump screamed at them and threatened them and said, fight or I'm going to jail you. They quit because Trump is unstable and unreasonable and impossible to work with. And when the best attorneys in the country decide that representing Trump is too much to handle, that tells you everything you need to know about Trump's situation. And this lawyer exodus is not new. This is not the first time Trump's attorneys have quit. Alina Habba resigned from her position as a New Jersey prosecutor in December 2025 because she couldn't handle representing Trump anymore. Julianne Murray quit from Delaware because Senate pushback made her position untenable. Skadden, one of the biggest law firms in the country, had their lawyer quit on December 29th, 2025 because they couldn't take the pressure anymore. Big law firms across the country are basically saying they don't want Trump as a client. Big law firms are rejecting Trump. Big law firms are saying Trump is too much trouble, Trump is too expensive, Trump is too ethically problematic, Trump is too associated with illegal conduct, and firms don't want to be associated with Trump. And the money situation is completely out of control. Trump is demanding that the Georgia prosecutors pay him $6.2 million in legal fees. $6.2 million. Trump thinks that Fani Willis's office should pay Trump's legal bills because Trump claims the Georgia case is frivolous. But Trump is also saying that Trump's cumulative legal bills across all cases are over $100 million. $100 million. Trump has spent over $100 million on legal defense since Trump was indicted. $100 million. And Trump is trying to push the cost of Trump's defense onto other people. Trump is trying to get the prosecutors to pay Trump's bills. But that's not how it works. Trump is responsible for Trump's own legal fees, and Trump's legal fees are absolutely astronomical. And the reason Trump's legal bills are so high is because Trump is fighting in multiple cases simultaneously. Trump is being prosecuted in the classified documents case. Trump is being prosecuted in the Georgia election case. Trump is being prosecuted in the New York hush money case. Trump is facing the January 6th case. Trump is dealing with multiple criminal prosecutions at the same time. Trump is fighting in multiple jurisdictions. Trump is dealing with hundreds of attorneys across multiple law firms. Trump is dealing with enormous discovery materials. Trump is dealing with extensive pretrial motions. Trump is dealing with depositions and testimony. Trump is dealing with expert witnesses. Trump is dealing with all of the complexity and expense of defending multiple major criminal cases, and that's why Trump's legal bills are so high. But here's the thing. Trump doesn't have enough money to pay these bills. Trump is claiming that Trump's personal net worth is in the billions, but Trump's liquid assets are probably much lower. Trump's assets are tied up in real estate and business ventures. Trump can't liquidate those assets quickly. Trump is probably running low on cash. Trump is probably struggling to pay these massive legal bills. And that's why Trump is demanding that prosecutors pay Trump's bills. Trump needs the money. Trump is desperate for the money. Trump is probably looking at financial collapse on top of legal collapse. And the impact of the lawyer exodus is devastating for Trump's legal position. Trump is going into the most critical moment of the classified documents case without his lead attorneys. Trump is going to have to find new lawyers. Trump is going to have to get those lawyers up to speed. Trump is going to have to do all of that in 60 hours. And the new lawyers probably won't be as experienced or as skilled as Epstein and Blanche were. The new lawyers probably won't understand the case as well. The new lawyers probably won't be as prepared for Judge Sullivan. And Trump's legal position is going to suffer because of that. Trump's defense is going to be weaker. Trump's chances of winning are going to be lower. Come on, losing your lead attorneys 60 hours before a major deadline is devastating. All right, so let me break down exactly why Trump's attorneys are quitting and what it means that big law firms across the country are rejecting Trump as a client. Because this is a massive signal about Trump's legal situation. When the best attorneys in the country don't want to represent Trump, when experienced lawyers would rather abandon Trump than continue working for Trump, that tells you that Trump's cases are probably unwinnable and Trump's conduct is probably so problematic that attorneys can't ethically represent Trump anymore. Let's start with what Epstein and Blanche said when they quit. They said the evidence is overwhelming. They said the classified documents evidence proves Trump's guilt beyond any reasonable doubt. They said Trump's position is unwinnable. They said that the audio from Bedminster shows Trump confessing. They said the photographs show conclusively that Trump mishandled classified material. They said the obstruction videos show Trump's team deliberately hiding evidence. They said Evan Corcoran's testimony will be devastating. They said the crime fraud exception ruling means prosecutors have access to everything Trump said to Corcoran about covering things up. They said the case is unwinnable, and they couldn't in good conscience continue trying to defend someone when the evidence proves guilt so clearly. But Epstein and Blanche also said that Trump demanded they keep fighting. Trump demanded that they file more motions. Trump demanded that they file appeals. Trump demanded that they challenge every ruling. Trump demanded that they do whatever it took to delay the trial. Trump demanded that they hide evidence if possible. Trump demanded things that attorneys can't ethically do. And when the attorneys explained that they couldn't do those things, Trump screamed at them. Trump threatened them. Trump said, fight or I'll jail you. And Trump said, you're fired. Trump had midnight meltdowns. Trump was impossible to work with. And the attorneys decided they couldn't represent someone like that. The attorneys decided that representing Trump was ethically impossible. And this pattern has repeated itself multiple times. Alina Habba served as Trump's attorney for a while, but then she moved into government as a New Jersey prosecutor. Habba was probably looking for a way out of representing Trump, and the prosecutor job provided that opportunity. Habba could transition into government work and get away from Trump. And she did. Habba took the prosecutor job specifically to get away from Trump. That tells you something about how intolerable it became to represent Trump. Habba would rather take a government job with less prestige and less money than continue representing Trump. Julianne Murray also had to leave Trump's legal team. Murray served as one of Trump's attorneys, but then Senate Republicans started pushing back on her involvement. Senate Republicans basically said, we don't want you representing Trump. Senate Republicans made it politically impossible for Murray to continue, so Murray had to quit. Murray had to abandon Trump, and Murray probably wasn't unhappy about that. Murray probably welcomed the opportunity to get away from Trump. The Senate pushback probably gave Murray the excuse she needed to leave. The Skadden lawyer quit on December 29, 2025. Skadden is one of the biggest and most prestigious law firms in the world. Skadden represents major corporations and major clients. But Skadden's involvement with Trump became such a problem, such an ethical and reputational problem, that Skadden's lawyers started leaving. The Skadden lawyer said that the pressure from Trump was too much. The Skadden lawyer said that representing Trump was damaging to the firm's reputation. The Skadden lawyer said that Trump was making unethical demands. The Skadden lawyer said that Trump was unstable and unreasonable, and the Skadden lawyer decided to quit. Skadden probably told the Skadden lawyer to get out of the Trump representation because Skadden didn't want to be associated with Trump anymore. And this pattern is playing out across big law. Big law firms are basically saying no to Trump now. Big law firms are rejecting Trump as a client. Big law firms are saying that representing Trump is not worth the reputational damage. Big law firms are saying that Trump's cases are unwinnable and not worth spending resources on. Big law firms are saying that Trump's behavior is too problematic. Big law firms are saying that Trump demands unethical conduct from attorneys. Big law firms are walking away from Trump. And that's a massive problem for Trump because Trump needs quality legal representation and Trump can't get it anymore. The financial situation is also critical to understanding why attorneys are leaving. Trump's legal bills are astronomical. Trump has spent over $100 million on legal defense. $100 million, that's an insane amount of money. That's a staggering amount. And Trump's legal bills are going to keep growing because Trump has more trials coming. Trump is going to have trial after trial after trial. Trump is going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars before this is all over. And Trump probably doesn't have that much money. Trump is probably going to run out of money. Trump is probably going to be unable to pay his legal bills. And law firms don't want to work for clients who can't pay. The $6.2 million demand that Trump is making against the Georgia prosecutors is also revealing. Trump is saying that Fani Willis's office should pay Trump's legal fees. Trump is saying that the Georgia case is frivolous and therefore the prosecutors should reimburse Trump. But that's not how the legal system works. The loser doesn't usually have to pay the winner's legal fees. Trump doesn't get to demand that Fani Willis pay Trump's bills just because Trump lost. Trump is responsible for Trump's own legal fees. And Trump is trying to push those costs onto other people because Trump is running out of money. Think about what this means. Trump is the president of the United States. Trump has access to government resources. Trump could potentially direct government lawyers to work on Trump's defense. Trump could potentially use government money to pay Trump's legal bills. But Trump is still personally broke. Trump's personal resources are exhausted. Trump has spent all Trump's available cash on legal defense. Trump is running out of money. And Trump is desperate to find new sources of funding for Trump's legal defense. Trump is trying to get prosecutors to pay Trump's bills. Trump is probably trying to get Republican donors to pay Trump's bills. Trump is probably considering other options to pay for legal representation. And when attorneys understand that Trump is running out of money, when attorneys understand that Trump might not be able to pay their bills, when attorneys understand that they might work for months on Trump's case and not get paid, attorneys decide to leave. Attorneys need to get paid. Attorneys have their own families to support. Attorneys have their own bills to pay. Attorneys can't work for free. So when Trump's financial situation becomes precarious, when attorneys understand that they might not get paid, attorneys quit. Attorneys leave Trump and find other clients who can actually pay them. The cascading nature of all these problems is also significant. Trump loses a major motion in court. Trump's position becomes more desperate. Trump gets frustrated and angry. Trump screams at Trump's attorneys. Trump demands that Trump's attorneys do unethical things. Trump's attorneys realize that representing Trump is impossible. Trump's attorneys quit. Trump loses his experienced attorneys. Trump has to find new attorneys who are less experienced. Trump's legal position gets weaker. Trump loses more motions in court. Trump gets more frustrated. Trump screams at Trump's new attorneys. Trump's new attorneys quit, and the cycle repeats. Trump is caught in a downward spiral where Trump's legal position gets worse and worse as Trump loses more attorneys. The significance of the timing is also critical. Trump's attorneys quit on January 3rd at 11:30 at night. Trump has a major deadline on January 6th at noon. That's 60 hours away. That's not enough time to find new attorneys and get them up to speed on a complex case involving 833,000 pages of discovery. That's not enough time to prepare for a major court hearing. That's not enough time to organize evidence and prepare for document turnover. Trump is going into the most critical moment of the case with inexperienced attorneys or potentially no attorneys. Trump is going to be unprepared. Trump is going to be disorganized. Trump's legal position is going to suffer, and Judge Sullivan is probably going to be furious about the chaos. Okay, so let me break down what all of this means for Trump's legal future and Trump's presidential prospects, and what it means for Trump's ability to govern, and what it means for Trump's entire second term. Because this legal team collapse is not just a dramatic moment. This is a fundamental collapse of Trump's ability to mount a legal defense. This is the moment when everyone understands that Trump is completely isolated. This is the moment when everyone understands that Trump is in serious trouble. Point number one is about the immediate legal consequences of Trump losing his lead attorneys 60 hours before a major deadline. Trump is going into the most critical moment of the classified documents case without his experienced lead attorneys. Trump is going to have to appear before Judge Sullivan without his main lawyers. Trump is going to have to explain what happened. Trump is going to have to explain why his attorneys quit. Trump is going to have to look for new counsel. And Judge Sullivan is probably going to be furious. Judge Sullivan is probably going to think that Trump is responsible for this chaos. Judge Sullivan is probably going to view the attorney walkout as evidence of Trump's instability and unreasonableness. Judge Sullivan is probably going to be even harder on Trump because of Trump's treatment of Trump's own lawyers. The document turnover deadline on January 6th is probably going to be a disaster. Trump is supposed to turn over 833,000 plus pages of documents. That's an enormous amount of material. That material needs to be organized. That material needs to be indexed. That material needs to be properly transmitted to prosecutors in the court. And Trump's attorneys were probably handling all of that. But now Trump's lead attorneys are gone. Trump is now
Smart founders know something most people miss. Get your domain name even if you're not ready to launch your business. With Wix, you can grab yours now and then
Trump is now without the infrastructure to handle the turnover properly. Trump is probably going to turn over the documents late or incompletely. Trump is probably going to turn over the documents disorganized. Trump is probably going to violate the court's order. And Judge Sullivan is probably going to sanction Trump or hold Trump in contempt. Trump's ability to defend the classified documents case is probably now essentially zero. Trump had experienced attorneys who understood the case and understood the law. Those attorneys are gone. Trump's replacement attorneys are probably going to be less experienced and less skilled. Trump's replacement attorneys probably won't understand the case as well. Trump's replacement attorneys probably won't be prepared for trial. And Trump's legal defense is going to be much weaker as a result. Trump's chances of winning at trial were already extremely low. But now Trump's chances of winning are basically zero. Trump's going to go to trial with a weaker legal team, and Trump is probably going to be convicted. Point number two is about what this pattern of attorney departures means for Trump's overall legal situation and what it means for Trump's ability to defend Trump's other cases. Trump is also facing trial in the January 6th case. Trump is also facing trial in the Georgia election case. Trump is also facing trial in the New York hush money case. Trump is facing multiple trials. Trump needs experienced attorneys for all of these cases, but experienced attorneys are quitting Trump. Experienced attorneys are rejecting Trump. Experienced attorneys don't want to represent Trump anymore. And Trump is probably going to have to settle for less experienced attorneys across all of Trump's cases. Trump is probably going to have to settle for attorneys from smaller law firms. Trump is probably going to have to settle for attorneys who are desperate for clients. And Trump's legal defense is going to be weaker across all of Trump's cases. The financial crisis is also going to affect all of Trump's cases. Trump's legal bills are over $100 million across all the cases. Trump's legal bills are going to keep growing. Trump is running out of money. Trump is probably going to be unable to pay new attorneys. And when Trump can't pay attorneys, attorneys won't work for Trump. Trump is probably going to have to settle for court-appointed attorneys in some cases. Court-appointed attorneys are usually less experienced than private attorneys. Court-appointed attorneys are usually overwhelmed with cases. Court-appointed attorneys probably won't have the resources to mount an effective defense, and Trump's legal position is going to suffer because of inadequate legal representation. The ethical problems that attorneys face when representing Trump are also significant. Trump demands unethical conduct from attorneys. Trump demands that attorneys file frivolous motions. Trump demands that attorneys make arguments that are not supported by law. Trump demands that attorneys hide evidence. Trump demands that attorneys do things that violate the rules of professional conduct. And when attorneys refuse to do those things, Trump gets angry and fires the attorneys. Attorneys can't ethically do what Trump demands. Attorneys can't represent Trump when Trump demands unethical conduct. So attorneys quit, and Trump is left without representation. The reputational damage of representing Trump is also significant. Law firms don't want to be associated with Trump. Law firms don't want their names in the headlines as Trump's attorneys. Law firms don't want to be seen as defending Trump. Law firms think that representing Trump damages their reputation. Law firms think that representing Trump is not worth the cost to the firm's brand. And so law firms reject Trump. Big law firms especially don't want anything to do with Trump. Big law firms would rather lose the money than be associated with Trump. And that's devastating for Trump because Trump needs big law representation. Trump needs experienced attorneys from major law firms. But Trump can't get them anymore because big law firms don't want Trump as a client. Point number 3 is about what this means for Trump's political situation and what it means for Trump's approval ratings and what it means for the midterm elections. The fact that Trump's attorneys are quitting en masse is going to damage Trump politically. Voters are going to see that Trump's legal team is collapsing. Voters are going to understand that Trump's attorneys think Trump's cases are unwinnable. Voters are going to understand that Trump's attorneys don't want to represent Trump anymore. Voters are going to conclude that Trump is in serious legal trouble. Voters are going to lose confidence in Trump. Voters are going to move away from Trump. And Trump's approval rating is probably going to drop even further. Independent voters especially are going to be affected. Independent voters care about rule of law. Independent voters are going to see that Trump's own attorneys think Trump's cases are unwinnable. Independent voters are going to see that Trump's own attorneys are quitting. Independent voters are going to understand that Trump probably guilty. Independent voters are going to vote against Trump. Independent voters are going to vote against Republican candidates associated with Trump. And that's going to hurt Republican chances in the midterms. Republican donors are also probably going to be affected. Republican donors are going to see that Trump's legal position is collapsing. Republican donors are going to see that Trump is running out of money. Republican donors are going to see that Trump's attorneys are quitting. Republican donors are probably going to conclude that Trump is a lost cause. Republican donors are probably going to stop donating to Trump. Republican donors are probably going to redirect their money to Republicans, distancing themselves from Trump, and that's going to hurt Republican fundraising. That's going to hurt Republican midterm prospects. The base of Trump's support is also probably going to be affected. Trump supporters are probably realizing that Trump is in serious trouble. Trump supporters are probably realizing that Trump's attorneys don't think Trump can win. Trump supporters are probably realizing that Trump is running out of money. Trump supporters are probably realizing that Trump is probably going to be convicted. Trump supporters are probably losing confidence in Trump. Trump supporters are probably less enthusiastic about Trump. Trump supporters are probably less likely to volunteer and campaign for Trump. And that's going to hurt Trump politically. Point number 4 is about the impeachment implications and what this all means for Trump's survival in office. If the House flips in 2026, if Democrats get control of the House, then impeachment is virtually certain. Democrats are going to use all of this evidence against Trump. Democrats are going to use the collapsed legal team as evidence of Trump's unfitness. Democrats are going to use Trump's treatment of his own attorneys as evidence of Trump's instability. Democrats are going to use Trump's mounting legal bills as evidence of Trump's desperation. Democrats are probably going to impeach Trump. Democrats are probably going to argue that Trump should be removed from office. And with Trump's approval rating at 22%, with Republican support fragmenting, with Trump's political position weak, impeachment is probably going to succeed. The Senate probably has enough votes to convict and remove Trump. Trump is probably going to be impeached and probably convicted and probably removed from office. And that's the worst outcome for Trump. Trump is probably going to be removed from office before Trump's trial even starts. So here's where Trump is right now. Trump's lead attorneys quit. Trump's legal team is collapsing. Trump is running out of money. Trump is running out of attorneys. Trump has major deadlines looming. Trump is facing multiple trials. Trump is isolated and desperate. Trump's approval rating is historically low. Trump's political coalition is fragmenting. Trump's base is demoralized. Trump's donors are abandoning him. Trump is heading toward impeachment and conviction. Trump is heading toward removal from office. Trump is heading toward criminal conviction and prison time. Trump's presidency is basically finished. And it all happened because Trump is impossible to work with. It all happened because Trump screams at his own attorneys and threatens them. It all happened because Trump demands unethical conduct from lawyers. It all happened because Trump's cases are unwinnable. It all happened because the evidence of Trump's guilt is overwhelming. It all happened because Trump is desperate and unstable and running out of options. Trump is completely isolated now. Trump is completely alone. Trump's legal team has abandoned Trump. Trump's political team has abandoned Trump. Trump's party has abandoned Trump. Trump is on Trump's own, facing trial and impeachment and removal in prison. Pretty wild stuff when you think about how Trump's own behavior and Trump's own instability is what's bringing Trump down, yeah?
If you can't catch your breath and treatments aren't working, you have mucus plugs, dense blockages suffocating your airways like corks in a bottle. Here's the only way to dissolve them. If you're